Hey patrons, so we're going to have a look at this try that James Lowe scored for Ireland against England at Twickenham. Now I'll just run you through the end part of the play just to recap your minds back on what the try looked like, and then we'll go back and have a look at some of the features that made the try possible. So the beginning of the try starts with an Ireland penalty. Harry Randall is going to take the penalty quickly. Now there's a few details here that are really important that eventually lead to the try. So you'll notice that England have got their outside backs, as you'd imagine. Mullins on the outside, Stewart, Slade coming across, Randall of course carrying the ball. So you've got lots of their outside backs covering across onto the right hand side, and they would have obviously been expecting the second phase from this, but they get turned over this line now. Ball comes loose some way or other, and Ireland then are able to quickly move the ball away to space. And at this point, this is where that idea of hold and fold comes in. So this is something that I've dropped into a couple of posts. So these forwards in particular have to make a decision. Are they going to hold on this side of the pitch, or are they going to fold around the corner? Now, Marcus Smith is going to quickly drop into the backfield, and you'll also notice that Mullins is also dropping into the backfield. So Mullins is a winger, so he's going to push all the way to the left-hand side, and then Smith is going to push then to the right-hand side to end up as a 13-2. You notice that Jack Nowell's working really hard. He's going to try and get right off to the edge. He's an edge defender. And then on this side, then you'll have Freddie Stewart then holding the right-hand side. So these forwards have to make a hold or fold decision. And just notice, just that little push from Ellis Genge, just letting the Toja know to go around the corner. But what that does is actually put every single English forward on the left-hand side of this ruck, and that's really important. Simmons reloads from the tackle area, comes back across. Little jink back inside from Sexton, and even that little pass back inside, while they won't necessarily have been intentional to cause further implications, it actually causes huge implications. So Genge makes the tackle. He's held right side along with Curry. Again, all the other forwards are still on the other side. And that then creates an opportunity for Ireland to come back. So then as we see the picture open, we got Randall who's now exposed. These inside forwards were too tight. That previous overfold has caused them trouble. And Stewart still hasn't got full connection because of that reorganisation of the line. So he's detached. And I really like this little variation on a play from Ireland. So notice they got this 9 shape, fairly standard 9 shape, so hard line runner. But instead, Furlong's going to turn back inside. That does a couple of things. It takes away this short line option, but it means that Randall has got to fix, and all the inside defenders have got to fix on the inside because of the potential inside ball back into Burn. So instead, ball out to Bundyaki, and then this pass just across the front. It's a lovely, lovely ball. Move the ball quickly to the edge. Tackled by the edge defender just about, and notice backfield player Marcus Smith has now had to come up and shut the gate because of the line break. Now the England defence are having to move back, but they're still not into shape. They've got an initial what looks like a 9 shape, but then notice Sexton comes in front. What that does is actually create a 9 shape with a 10 at the head of it. And we see this, actually Wales and Dan Biggar does this quite a bit, not so effectively I might add. So Johnny Sexton up at the front, short line option, inside option, and he's then got one of the forwards that will need to push out. Players who are not involved, just looking at holding inside lines, trying to interest the inside defence. And you'll notice then off the ball, the outside back, what's their job? Their job is to help organise these guys off the ball and get them into good shapes to play off. So decent ball across the front, but you'll notice that actually Ireland lose ground on this phase. But it's all about the picture they're trying to paint. So use the line across the grass as a bit of a guide. So play the pass. So they've lost 5 or so metres. But the key is, again, England having to make hold or fold decisions as to what they do at this ruck area. Take you back. Inside defenders, they have to decide now. These defenders indeed have to decide post-tackle, where do they go next? Randall has to think about, does he hold or fold? Does he cover the backfield? Genge makes his way around the corner. Double tackle, and this is really important. Ireland hold in both tacklers. So Ireland have got 3 men in the breakdown, England have got 2. Does that mean that England or Ireland have the numbers advantage? It means Ireland have got the numbers advantage, because England have got 2 men in the backfield. This is regardless of the fact that they got a red card, by the way. So even if they weren't on a red card, England still have 2 in the backfield, still have a 9 that's dropping out of the line more than likely at this part of the field. So in that case, holding those 2 players in is actually quite significant, made all the worse by the fact that England are on a red card. So now we have Slade, Randall has to come into the inside, and now, so essentially we have disconnected defenders. We have Stewart on the outside, you have disconnected defenders, and all Ireland have done from the previous ruck is that they're going to reload. Van der Fleer, he's going to drop back in, James Lowe is going to drop back in, Kelleher's going to drop back in. They get straight back into shape. The other guys who worked on the corner from the previous breakdown. So now, this is very much a Leinster tactic. Become really common. Rather than going through the initial hands, they get the ball quickly to the space. But they get the ball to a space where there's still options. And it wouldn't be uncommon, in fact, for Leinster to go from the ruck and all the way to the edge and get the ball straight there, and then just force these defenders to drift and try to attack weak shoulders. So Ireland, using a similar kind of ploy, move the ball to that middle man. And what does that do? Well, that gives him options either side. So now Stewart's having to go passive. Notice Harry Randall at the ruck. He gets really interested in Gibson Park, and because he's interested in Gibson Park, that then creates even more of a disconnect. Hands up from the inside receiver, and now he just needs a nice square run. We've got over chasing defenders. Stewart's worried about Lowe on the outside. Slade then is in 2 minds who to tackle, so he's going to end up taking the ball carrier, and that puts Van der Fleer through. And Harry Randall again is going to struggle to catch up from there. And this little catch pass from Van der Fleer, I think even that in itself is worthy of another look. So from the other angle, you see that the picture is even more significant than maybe what we saw from the side-on angle. The spacings in between are far too large for them to be able to cover, particularly with the numbers Ireland have got. So even though Ireland lost ground 5 metres or so from the previous ruck, they've been able to open up their space to attack. And they've got a genuine overload in addition to the fact that they've got disconnection in the English defence. So Randall, too interested by Gibson Park, should have just held off. Stewart probably gotten too far out, could have just been connected to Slade slightly and then slid across together. Because they didn't, nice hard line, fixes the inside, and just watch the way the Van der Fleer works through your hips nice and square. And then as he passes, his outside leg comes forward, and that's a really important tactic. So rather than falling off the pass, he works his way through, outside leg across, and that then forces Smith into bite. So it's a real nice bit of technique, and you'll see that from some of the better catch passers, keeping the hips nice and square, stepping through with the outside leg.